Okay, we are live here on RAIDER Reaction. So, Henry, I want to see how many people come up here, and then I'm going to put you on speaker here, and we'll go from there. Okay, stand by a second. We'll see if anybody comes back because like I said, I dumped the video. Joel joined us. Okay, so we do got one eye. Joel, this might be a phone call between myself, you, and Henry Lawrence. Hang on a second. Brad is in here. Okay, Henry, I'm going to put you on speaker here. So hopefully we got a couple people to listen to. Just hang on a second. Okay, Henry, you're on speaker. Go ahead, and folks, you guys are listening to Henry Lawrence. Hopefully this will be a better connection this time. Go ahead, Henry.
Hi, am I coming through okay?
Can you guys hear Henry Lawrence? Like I said, there's about a 7-second delay, Henry, so I'll see if they hear you better on this band.
Listen, calling Raider Nation.
Okay. We're going to put the volume up all the way. At least hopefully so. Yep, the volume is up. Oh, good. They hear you. They hear you fine. They hear you fine, Henry. That's good. Yes, we can. Thank goodness. I told you I would bring Henry Lawrence aboard. Henry, you are here, and everybody is ready to hear about your stories, starting from the great Florida A&M. And I know I've heard them before. I'm just going to let you go. Give me when you came from A&M, how you were, shall we say, recruited, and go from there.
Recruited to the Raiders?
Well, you can go. You can go back as far as you want. You want to do your college career or the Raiders? What we could probably do when you were coming out of A&M. When you were coming out of A&M, tell us the story about your being drafted.
Well, things were looking pretty exciting for me, and they had never really had that kind of excitement to come through Florida A&M. The most they had, I guess, when Bob Hayes was coming from the Olympics and he went to Dallas. He was drafted, and I think he changed the whole dynamics of NFL defenses when he came in with the speed. And when I came along, I was another one of the guys. I wasn't really recruited. I wasn't recruited by Florida A&M. I was recruited pretty much for the most part by Southern. I signed letter of intent to go to Southern, and one of my coaches actually threatened me. So I ended up signing to Florida A&M. I went there, and it was a little rough going in because I was from a little small town called Palmetto, and they weren't real friendly to guys from the little towns like Sarasota, Palmetto, Manatee, Sarasota County. But I stayed, I practiced, and did everything that a player do, and just kind of bided my time. But there was some rough spots there, attitude. And I played my junior year, the end of my freshman year. I had got recruited over to the offensive line. I went to A&M as a defensive end, actually All-America, All-State, and wide receiver tight end. But I hung in there, and my second year going into the spring, I played some defensive end in practice my freshman year, and then they moved me to defense. The coach that signed me came to sign me. I signed out in the tomato field. Had to find my mom in the tomato field, but he took over and was going to give me a shot, but the other coach wouldn't put me in until they had to. In the first game they put me in, I made 12 tackles and 4 sacks. Everybody's wondering, well, where's he been?
Now, did you play both ways that game, or did you just play defense?
I just played defense. My sophomore year going in, I was defensive man, and my coach got sick and died, and they had a new coach, the offensive wide receiver took over. So I played defensive man, linebacker, dropping back in coverage. Whatever they wanted me to do, I did it. So going into my junior year, spring of my sophomore, we played against Tampa my sophomore year. I played defensive end a few plays. They took me out, and then Jim Williams, big Jim Williams that produced the big legendary Blake High up there at the time. He was big winner. Was at Tampa U, and he came to A&M as the coach, and he asked me what happened, why they took me out of the game, and I just said, well, that's just the way it was. And he wanted me to switch over back over to the offensive line. And so I need an offensive tackle. I said, man, I don't want to play no I want to go get the quarterback.
There you go.
But he was so fiery. He expressed to me that the coaches didn't feel that I had the guts. I had the balls. Was tough enough to go back to the offensive line. I wouldn't, couldn't do it. And he went off on him, and he told me, so this kid got more heart than any kid I've ever coached. And as he was talking, he was so fiery, I stood at attention. I said, Coach, I'll do it. And so I moved over to the offensive line in the spring of my sophomore year, going into my junior year. I didn't know I had been redshirted. And so things just started happening. I played on the third team, and I went downfield and threw a block on the defensive back on an offside play. And no one had been doing that there. They didn't even do it in the NFL. I did it in the NFL also. And 3 scouts were there, and they noticed me. And they had me run after practice. I ran a 4.7 after a 3-hour practice. And next thing I know, I was on the headlines of Pittsburgh Terrier. All of them, and their front page. That killer gets in position, and things just started happening. My junior year, I played Tampa, and John Matusak was coming out that year as the #1 draft pick. They had already determined it, and I played against him the last game of the season, and he made one tackle the whole game, and so all of a sudden, everybody said, "Oh wow, but he went #1."
Right.
So what happened? They said, "Wow, who's this guy that blocked John Matusak?" And all these scouts and general managers and a couple of owners came to Florida A&M. He couldn't even get on the sideline. And so my senior year, I went in. I made all the Pittsburgh Curry All-America my junior year, and then I didn't even make the All-Conference. But going in, I played, started at tackle. And we had more scouts and personnel and folks coming there that had never been there. And I just did what I do, made blocks, went downfield throwing blocks, and then we played Tennessee, and Ed Jones was coming out. They had the #1 draft pick that year. They had already determined it. I started that game against Tennessee. I started the game at fullback. And they had a hard time dealing with him on the line, so I moved back up to the line and played against Ed Jones. And Ed Jones was a great player. That guy was jumping over people's head and everything. And I fared okay with him. And then the pros wanted to get another look at me, so I went to the Senior Bowl. And Ed Jones, Don Reese, Fred Cook, and also all these guys were there, and they had a couple of perennial consensus All-Americans there. John Hicks was coming out that year also, and he didn't go to any All-Star games, which I thought was pretty smart because he didn't have anything to prove. And there was another player there that was consensus All-American. He went, and he didn't look too good, and he got crossed out. But I guess my points went up. I went up a point. And so Coach Madden saw me, and they tell me, the story during the draft. They said, well, we can't get the best player coming out of college. So I want the guy that can block him. And so he drafted me. And when I got to Oakland, he set me down like the middle of like a merchant. Hey, how'd you learn to pass a take like that? You look like you've been coached. But I didn't know at the time that the theory in the NFL was that guys coming out of the black colleges hadn't been coached, and they hadn't played in a real competition, and so that was used as a negotiating ploy also to give us less money.
Yeah, and that's, I tell you, that's unfortunate in the fact that, I can't stress, how the racial divide has just been I can't even get the right word for it. It was a travesty for sure about how the black colleges just didn't have the talent, or the black quarterbacks were just not as intelligent, or this, that, and the other thing. It's unfortunate, and I'm glad that it's gone away. And Mr. Davis was probably one of the pioneers of making sure that these small colleges were taken care of. The fact that Gene Upshaw was taken out of, I think, Texas A&I and drafted to block Curly Culp, because he knew the capabilities of a player. It didn't matter what the color of his skin was. Al was going to draft him if the person showed the potential and the dynamics for what he wanted for the Raider team.
Yeah, but Texas A&I was not a small black college, so that was a whole different thing. But you had many players coming out of the schools, and I was insulted during that time when I was doing an All-Star game, the North-South Shrine game down in Miami, and one of the broadcasters was interviewing me, and he puts the mic in my face and says, "How do we feel, playing in this game against real competition, guys, this caliber?" And I had to, at that time, I was kind of studying the Pro Bowls and all that. And the majority of the players in the Pro Bowls and a lot of the All-Pro guys, a great number of them were from the black schools. You had the Claude Humphreys, the Raymond Chesters, the Art Shell. I mean, you had a whole lot of, and I pointed that out to him, and it's like they kind of threw him for a loop. So we actually became very, very good buddies after that. But it was insulting. But that was the case. That was the norm during that time. Things have changed drastically, and players are doing much better. They have a quota now, certain amount that they got to pay them. They got a minimum. And back then, they didn't have a minimum. When I came in the league, guys were still making $15,000, $16,000. And I was the number one draft pick. I made 25, and the number 2 pick made more than I made. But things have changed drastically, and free agency has also leveled the field a little bit, so a guy can come and he can play if he stay healthy and he shows that he can do it, then he can become a free agent. Back then, I was a free agent 3 times, but the team, they illegally didn't talk to other players. So it's a whole different ball game now. It's just sad that NFL and also the union, the Players Association, is not looking back, reaching back, doing more for the older guys before 1993.
Well,
they don't even have a cost of living, in the pensions or anything. And all the unions, I know you get a little cost of living increase, but that don't happen.
What was your biggest take about joining? When like you said, Coach Madden was saying, well, it looks like you've been doing some coaching. So you were obviously, and I hope that, you didn't take offense to that, I hope, or was it one of those things where it was a left-handed compliment?
Well, it was a great compliment. But see, I wasn't aware of the stigma that existed in the NFL and in the World Football League. Is that, well, he's been in a black school, he hasn't been coached, he hasn't played any real competition. Because I was drafted by the Florida Sharks, too, and they said the same thing. And all of this, the NFL teams pretty much were saying that was part of their negotiating for it. It's a different story now. It's a whole different, the playing field is different. Everything has changed, but not so much for the older guys, but young guys are doing very well. If they go out and play and show that they can play out their contract if they, don't think they're getting enough, and they can do good. Even the minimum now is more than I made. I'm going into my 14th year. So it's the whole playing field has changed, and I think it's great for the guys that they can make the money that they make.
Now, what would you say is your fondest memory of playing in Oakland, and maybe something when we go through the fondest memory, something that nobody else knows about, other than maybe you and another couple of people that you're allowed to talk about? Because I know that there are some things that, stays in the locker room and you don't want to dime anybody out, but fondest memory and maybe one of the something that would entertain the people here that they don't know about or haven't heard about or read about in any of the books.
Well, I would say that I would have liked to have seen a couple of our derelict players more discipline and consideration for the other players, especially, going into a game or the day or night or day or 2 days before the game, because if they had that kind of dedication, I would dare to say that the Raiders could have won probably 4 or 5 straight Super Bowls. They win 5 straight AFC Championship games, and we lost by less than 3 points, 1 point, 2 points. So I would have liked to have seen more discipline on the players' part. But going into those games, I have to tell you that we've never been more prepared, because Coach Madden and Coach Boyd was a great coach and teacher too, but Coach Madden was a master teacher. He would explain, this is what we're doing, but the other side of it, he was a veteran coach, and back then the quarterbacks kind of called the plays, and we got to at the point, I think we were too predictable, and teams played that on a major scale, and as a result, we came up short, on quite a few occasions.
All right, now. Obviously, you played behind John Vella your first year, and but you were around for Super Bowl 11. When did you break the starting lineup where you were part of the offensive line from here on out? I mean, Henry Lawrence got into the offensive line at this point, and you never relinquished your position after that.
Well, I was one would say that it was unfortunate, but I would say it was a toss-up when I was coming out, because Cannonball Alley was my alumni and my fraternity brother, and he was I was good buddies with Roosevelt Brown from the Giants, who was a scout, and he'd come and do concerts, and we would sit back and hang out and talk afterwards. And my senior year, he said, Roosevelt Brown, man, who the best tackle, best lineman coming out of college this year? And he said, your homeboy, Lawrence. He said, well, yeah. He said, but of course, they had John Hicks coming out, who was the Outland Trophy winner. And of course, in New York, you got to have the publicity and all that. But I sat for 3.5 years behind Art Shell, Gene Upshaw, and George Bueller and John Vella. And I had to tell you, those were 4 of the best offensive linemen that I can say that in any NFL team. Then, of course, you had Jim Otto, who was a little older than he had was playing, and then Dave Darby came in, and I have to tell you, I had to sit and watch the best line in the NFL, if you want, my opinion of it. But Art Shell was all pro perennial, and Gene Upshaw was, and Dave Darby made the Pro Bowl. John Bella and George didn't, but those 2 guys, they could block anybody, and plus we blocked for 5, 6, 7 seconds. No team did that. And John Bella, I used to sit and watch him in awe, because he had a technique of pass blocking that I think transcended anybody. I mean, he was phenomenal, and I told him that I thought we had 2 of the best, and then I had a chance to look at films on Bob Brown, who was there before him. So I had a chance to really learn from 3 great offensive tackles, which was Art Shell, Bob Brown. Bob wasn't there, but I watched film on it, and I got to see John Bella. Bella got hurt in my 4th year in '77, and I had to step in. But I tell you, I just had to sit and wait, because that's how good the guys were. And I got a little agitated about it, but I understood that. Coach Madden was great at getting past, that ego of a player. He said, you're going to be a great player. He said, you had to wait your time, I didn't want to hear that, but it was the truth. And when you're winning, you can take that. I'd rather been there it was an education. It was being in school. My third year, I went in as a third tight end in short yardage goal line situation, and Coach Madden called all of those critical plays, and it made a drastic difference. And no one could even slow us down.
Now, did Madden ever have a fake play where obviously you were playing third tight end? Did you get a chance to ever catch the ball?
We had a game where they had me in practice as a third tight end to go, pass near goal line, and I hit and I release and go to the end zone. But they never threw the ball, so I didn't expect them to throw the ball. So I wore all my stuff, my gloves and my pads, everything. And I remember Stabler wasn't playing that game because I think we had kind of sensed it. And he actually said, "Killer, you gonna be able to catch with that stuff?" Well, they ain't gonna throw it no how. And I was a receiver in school, and so I made my block, and I hit and I released and I turned the end zone, and I'm standing. I think Larry Lawrence might have been there, David Hull, one of those guys. And I looked up, and here's the ball coming, and I hadn't in practice. They never threw it, so I'm sitting there in my mind saying, "Oh shit," So the ball, when I looked at the picture, my hands were like you're catching the ball with your hands. My hands were turned in, So that was my one opportunity to get my claim to fame, but I blew it. But I was a wide receiver tight end in school, but I just wasn't ready for it. I didn't think they was going to do it, so I wore all my pads. I wore everything. I didn't want anything uncovered when I went out on the field.
There you go, Henry. That's one story that I never knew, that I don't think I've ever asked you. So, gosh darn it, you could have had a touchdown, and I know you'd still have that ball today.
I should have had it. And I have no excuse except I wasn't there because they didn't throw it in practice, so I thought they're not going to throw any ball. But,
yeah.
I was pretty nifty, too. I could move, I could run. I could run with the best of them. But I wasn't ready for it, so I didn't get it.
Now, was that a preseason game or was it a regular season game?
It was regular season. It was near the end of the season. It was a regular season.
Okay.
We won the game, but I wasn't ready for it.
So now that was your only time out. So you were 0 for 1.
Yeah, I went in at tight end many times during the season because I was going in as the third tight end and short yardage goal line. And during that season, actually, the majority of big number of plays we ran them to the right, so teams weren't used to seeing that because we were so predictable. We ran everything to the left. But Coach Madden would actually send the plays in, and no one couldn't defend it. Coach Madden was probably, in my opinion, the greatest teacher coach that I had. I had good ones in college too, and great ones in high school too. But he was a great teacher, and I think Coach Flora learned a lot from him because he was good at explaining stuff too.
Okay, well, obviously you did well. You are wearing the 3 rings. What? Like I said, you have that fond memory. What do you recall? It's probably your best offering. What was your low point as a Raider, would you say?
My low point?
I know you had to wait a couple years to break the to break the lineup, and that was upsetting to you. But what can you remember as like a highlight and a low light?
My low point started out, I guess, going into my, I guess it was 85. I didn't have I didn't have 84. I didn't have a contract, but I went in and I got, I hurt my shoulder, and then I got an apology and I hurt my knee. But they basically told me that it was just a sprain, so I played the season with it. And going into my 13th year, I didn't. I had surgery on my shoulder. My knee they didn't fix, but but I went to camp and I didn't should have like they think like they have now. If they had had that then, and I'd have been okay because guy has no reason not to be in top shape condition now because they're right there and they're required to be there. But that was getting hurt like that, and then going in my 13th year after probably one of the best games I ever had in my NFL career. We played Seattle, and I was playing tackle, and in that game we had 13 sacks. And during that year we weren't doing great, but the press was calling for somebody's skin, and of course, you know, they had certain people, I guess, and they benched me. I went in actually after my best game. I had one guy on me had one tackle the whole game, and they called the lineup, and I was out. And so I asked Coach Sam Negocian after, you know, our classroom. I said, "So what are you saying? I had a street game?" He said, "No, Kelly, you had a great game." He said, "But it came from upstairs, you know, and that was the man. He was the boss." That was a little point. And then going into my 14th year, I went in the best shape I'd ever been in my life. I mean, I was kind of knocking people, and I got my eyeball split open. And then we had the strike, which we went out on strike the second game of the season, in which I had violently objected to it during our convention because, you know, it's going on strike after 2 games. Guys are not prepared, and back then guys were making a bunch of money, and most guys in the camp, they were broke. So you can't have no strike, but, you know, I'm sure they expressed it. And so everybody knew what everybody was going to do. But I said, you know, I wanted to let's go to the third quarter, you know, of the season, you know, so that guys would have kind of filled their trough up a little bit. But it didn't happen like that. And I stayed out of the strike. And that was a little point. I had my eyeball had gotten split. And so after the 8th game, you know, they could release you. And I went in and they said, "Well, you've been a great Raider." You know, and that was very disheartening, especially after, you know, you dedicated so much and given so much, and that happened. But that was the NFL. You know, it's a little different kind of game now. But yeah, those were highlights and the lowlights. 3 Super Bowls were the highlights, and playing against in Philly. During the season, I played against Claude Humphrey, and he had 4 sacks on me. And he would talk, "Oh, boy, you're trying to kill me." He was a great one. And I was blocking him. I was blocking him real good, but he was coming around that corner. He held the ball so long, and Jim was stepping back. And so after the guy, I blocked it so good one time, I was on top of him. He reached out, and Jim ran into his arm. He grabbed the sack while I was on top of him. So, you know, them days where it just stuff happen. It's going to happen. I don't care what you do. And after the game, he paid me the greatest compliment. After he said, "Man," he said, "I've been watching you." I played him in Atlanta in preseason. He said, "You've been the best tackle in the league since you got in Atlanta." He said, "You've been getting screwed." He didn't say it like that, but it was, you know, it was a little bit cruder. But he said, "You've been screwed." He said, "Don't get down on yourself." He said, I studied this game, and he did. He was a great one. And then, I mean, I think we had 6 or 7 turnovers, but I had 4 sacks in that game. And so we had them again in the Super Bowl. And that was it was a redeeming time for me because I knew that I was playing good, but sometimes you can play good and things still be bad. So I played him. I got ready mentally, and I was focused, and I played him a little different. And he got frustrated, and he came in and he head snapped me. And the ref threw the flag, and he took the flag and picked it up and threw it back at the ref. So I said, "I got him," you know. But he was one of the greats, and I had the honor of playing against him, and he gave me the greatest compliment. Him and Bob Brown, who after in my 12th, 13th year, came down to L.A., and I had met him my rookie year. he was still on the team, but they didn't bring him into camp that year. And I got to meet him again, and we talked to him. He said, "I've been watching you," and he said, "You've been doing a great job." I mean, so you get a Bob Brown and a Claude Humphrey, you know, to tell you stuff like that. I mean, for me, it don't get no better.
Well, when you have two Hall of Famers, well, granted, they weren't Hall of Famers at the time, but the redemption of the fact that you have two Hall of Famers in Boomer and then Claude Humphrey, who actually made it as a senior, you know, well overdue as well, telling you that all of those positive things, Henry, that's a hellacious thing to keep as a personal tribute to you, sir.
But the other part about it is, when thinking back, when I had, you know, like Mr. Davis just could say, some of the greatest games with some of the greatest players, some of the greatest plays. I mean, my goodness, man, look at all the famous that I got to play with, the Jim Ottos, the Upshaws, the Shells, the Caspers. We were working together. Well, Jack Tatum, I'm sure at some point they're going to have to give it to him. Willie Brown. I mean, man, I just had the opportunity to play with some great players, you know. And when you went to the Raiders, it wasn't about, oh, he's going to take my position. It's about, I'm going to help him be as good as me, so that if he has a step in, we don't have a fall off. And that was the attitude with the Raiders.
I was going to say, Mike Davis actually said that when I spoke to him a couple of weeks ago, he said that when he came in, that, you know, he was in awe of, you know, Jack and George and all that gang, but they treated him like he was, once you put on the uniform, there was none of the hazing that he would that was prevalent in the other teams, so that once you put on that uniform, that everybody treated you from jump that you were a part of the team, and that the camaraderie there was second to none.
Yeah, there was a little hazing, but there was never none of that stupid stuff. You know, I mean, but yeah, there was hazing. And me, my rookie year as a number one, I had to buy dinner, you know, for all the line. I mean, and of course, you know, we wasn't making. I got fined I got fined $500, man. I cried all week because my check wasn't but $1,700, and so you get fined, you know, $500. You got $1,200 left. I cried, man. I cried for days. Guys get fined now $10, $15, $20, $30,000. They don't even switch, man. You know, so it was great. I mean, I wouldn't trade it. There's some things, you know, when you can look back and say, wow, if I could go with what I know now, but that's not the case. You know, I just great to see players making the kind of money they're making now. Be great if they would say, hey, you know, there's, you know, like when they said the rookies, well, they haven't paid any dues, you know, so they took like what, $300-500 million from the rookies cap, you know, per year. And one of the guys said, well, why don't you split it? Give the guys, the old guys, put half of it in their pension, and they basically screw those guys. And that's a sad thing, you know, as far as I'm concerned. You know, that's total greed. But you know, it's leadership that also has the ability to affect a change, and it's not happening. We had one change when Maurice came in, and guys did get an additional deal, but you know, they're not considering the guys. You know, cost of living increase. You got to wait until the next, you know, collective bargaining. Guys are picking up another 50, 7,500, 200, 300%, but we're still right there at that same level, and it's somewhat it's ridiculous, and it's sad that the greed is accepted. I even heard that when I guess Drew Brees was the president, and somebody wanted to put $1 billion in those guys, and he said, basically, screw those guys. They squandered their money. What money? You know, that's sad. You know, I think that is ridiculous. I was kind of happy when they got bumped off. I know it's not good me saying that, but I'm saying it anyway.
No, that's okay. We're it's not it's only attribution for folks in the Raider Nation clan. So, and anybody else that doesn't like it, they can piss off, as they say.
But we you know, I'm looking forward to this season. You know, they got Gruden's in there now. I mean, we've had some great coaches. You know, I mean, I think that you know, Al was the owner, and he dictated kind of what he wanted. But I think that he would have allowed the changes that was necessary as we progressed, you know, through the years. I mean, man, there's no telling what, you know, could have been accomplished. But you cannot argue with what he did. He did some great things for the team, for the NFL. I mean, his contributions are unparalleled.
True. Now, I got a couple questions for you from our viewers here, Henry, and I'll throw them out to you, and you can answer which ones you wish. Who was your biggest rival, and what was your most hated team to play?
Well, that's a difficult one to say. I had a few guys that I had some issues with, you know. I had the Art Stills, the Jacob Green, the Claude Humphreys. Man, I had some nightmares. So I could give you a whole list of guys. There was a guy named Whitney Paul who came in as a defensive end linebacker, and when he broke in, and man, I caught it. Man, he was like a little maggot running all over the place. So I've had some. It's been a challenge. It was a challenge with quite a few guys. We had some great players that we had to go against.
Team wise, what would you say it was, the Steelers or the Chiefs?
I think during my time, the most intense was we played the Chiefs every year, twice a year. And actually, my first few years, we played the Pittsburgh every year, too, either in the season or the playoffs. The Pittsburgh was pretty intense. The Chiefs was very intense. I mean, but Pittsburgh, usually when we played them, it was for the play. It was for the money. It was for the real money. Then you had the Miami Dolphins. So we had some battles.
Right. Well, Henry, I know I'm going to give you the opportunity here, and by the way, I want you to know that because those issues with this interview, we're going to definitely have you on again, and I'm going to have you come through the computer so that everybody can hear you perfectly clear, because I love you, brother. You know that, and we're definitely going to have you on for another show as well. So don't worry about you not having the opportunity. We're definitely going to do that. But I wanted to let you have the floor because obviously a great career there. But I know what you've been doing after your career. What do you take away as what you're doing now, and what's the best thing you can partake amongst everybody here that's listening to you? That Henry Lawrence, what's the best is Henry Lawrence impart to them would be what?
Well, life has been a journey. Coach, I performed. I did vocal entertainment when I was playing, and I actually did stage in high school and college, theater. And then after I was leaving the Raiders, I did a theater, a major production called The Obeah in L.A. And since then, I've done two productions. I did one in St. Petersburg back in 2003, and co-starred with Michelle Lamar, who was the sister of Whitney Houston in Bodyguard, a play called the Manhattan Casino. And back 2 years ago, I starred in a play, the Broadway play Hair. Ben Vereen was the director. I've been busy. I've been doing performing. I opened for Eddie Money concert. I'm going to be opening for Charlie Daniels, the country western legend. Opened for Bobby Womack. Opened for George Benson. Opened for Bobby Humphrey. So I've had. God has been very, very good. I've been truly blessed, and I have no complaints. And the only complaints is that I didn't, follow through and make the decisions that I should have made that would have made even a more major difference. And I'm just happy that my kids, they're doing good. They're finishing college, and one MBA and one engineer, and she's going back to get her MBA. And design, Isaac. So God has been real good, and I'm really happy that I can say that I didn't have to go in there and get them out of jail. I didn't have to go, pick them up to get kicked out. So it's been a true blessing for me, and God has been truly, truly good to me, my family, and I'm just happy to be able to sit here and say that.
Well, I was going to say, Henry, I'm looking forward to having you on again, and I'll have. I mean, I don't have to cut this off. I just wanted to make sure that I didn't keep you up too late, because we were supposed to have you gone and finished by 11 o'clock. So you're free to hang out for a little bit more, but don't feel like obligated either, because again, you'll get another show as soon as we can book it.
Okay, well, I'm gonna get off. I think I probably done talked too much already anyway, so I'll catch you guys on the next time, and right on to the Raider Nation, and y'all keep on keeping on.
Thank you there, Henry. Like I said, I'll get with you, and we'll put you in for another show for sure, because I can't get enough of the killer, and I know that the audience definitely they want to have you come in and do more.
All right. Take care. God bless you.
All right. Thank you there, Henry, and we'll get you up on the next time as well. That was Henry Lawrence. Again, I apologize for the snafu. It's not like I'm deliberately screwing up, because you know that I want to have you all here listening to the great Raiders that we have. And it's not mechanical error. I'm not an imbecile. I take offense to you guys saying that. I do. I take offense to that. I'm not a mechanical tweak, but I want to make sure that I have the best shows for you. We're going to have Henry Lawrence on again, because I want to make sure I give him a full hour, but I don't want to also keep him up too late. So excuse me. We'll have him on again, and I will make sure that you guys won't be able to call in, because I'm going to have him in on the computer line so that everybody can hear him. There you go. Again, I appreciate you all coming in here. I enjoy having you here at Raider Reaction Ask the Captain. That's just the way it was. It was phenomenal. And remember, as Ruben just said, Al Davis's birthday is on the 4th, so make sure that thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. Some of the comments I took personally, but I'm gonna give you guys the best I can, and we will have Henry on again. Henry is a good friend of mine, and I tell you, nothing that I won't do for him, for sure. I know that when my room gets done, and I have my party and my first show where I'm watching the Raiders here in my house, Henry is going to be the first person invited, and that goes without saying, because he's that much of a great person. So I appreciate you guys coming in to watching the Raider Reaction Ask the Captain show on Sunday. Make sure that you are here throughout the week. We always have good shows for you when there's not computer or mechanical screw-ups. It's the way it is. But we're gonna make sure that we're here for you. I don't know who you are, but you the man. Thank you there, Tim. I'm Captain Jack. Says so right. Whoop. There you go. Right over here. It's kind of weird when I'm looking at the camera, so I don't know. I'm Captain Jack. And we will have these good shows for you. And ball is out in LA. Okay, I'll have to look at that. Yeah, I'll check out that walk-off win today by the Phillies. And Brad, you'll like I said, I'll make sure everybody knows when we have Henry on again. I'm still efforting. I know that I have personally asked the spokesperson for the Stabler XO organization will be here doing some talks with you. I'm efforting to get the Villapiano family here talking to you. I'd like to get some other players, and we'll have a good time. And I can guarantee you I won't be using the phone anymore. It's going to go right into the computer, so you guys can hear it. No problem at all. So or they'll be here in studio with me, because I'll have Henry in studio with me, so there won't be any snafus. They'll be right to you. But it is 11:15, and I actually have work tomorrow. So I would like to say thank you for joining us. Make sure I'm getting now. It doesn't, Tim. I'm trying to get the Villapiano family. I'd like to have Phil himself. I can't promise that. But I'm trying to get Phil and the family, because I know I've been talking with the family, and I won't say anything else because I don't want to promise deliver. I'm trying to get these people for you, because I'm a Raider fan. I know you're a Raider fan, and you want the best from us. So, again, apologies for the portion of the show that you guys couldn't hear. Thank you there, Tim, and welcome to our family of watching Raider Reaction. I'm Captain Jack. I will be having my podcast starting in August. Myself and Big L. Happy 4th to you there, Matt, as well. Be sure to check out my podcast. It'll be starting up in August. I'll be having myself, Big L, and Angry Trask. We'll be doing a Raider podcast. Looks to be every Wednesday. It'll be at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Pacific Time, 6 p.m. for Angry out in Alaska. But make sure that you check in tomorrow, where Monday, the man, Big L, will be doing the Monday show here on Raider Reaction. We always trying to bring you all the best we can. Tuesday, I will be doing a show. It'd be another basically Ask the Captain show. It'll be at one of the other sites here on Facebook. And it's for folks that don't know too much about football, and they want to call in. It'll be over at the it'll be Alonzo Thomas's website, the Silver and Black Alliance. Check that out. I'll have information here. I will also post information about the podcast I did for the local website. It's All Sports. So it'll be fun to listen to. Join us here on Raider Reaction. We love you, all of Raider Nation. We're here for the Silver and Black. I ain't even going to do the side-off music. Screw it. I want to have y'all come out and see us. Yard from Captain Jack. Have a great week coming up. We'll see you here next time. Ask the Captain. Ask Captain Jack. I've been here, Tim. I've been here. Make sure you IM me, brother. You find me, Captain Jack Rackham. You find me, and we'll talk here on Raider Reaction. Take care. We'll see you guys next time. Have a great week.